Hello, everyone. Or should I say, Happy Halloween. Yes, this will be a Halloween-themed video, so it was a perfect timing for me to resurrect and wake up from the dead. So basically, we know in total drama, there is usually one episode per season that has a horror theme, so I thought what a perfect time to rank these episodes and see which episode is the ultimate total drama Halloween episode. The first thing I have to do is, of course, find out which are the Halloween episodes, so I just googled Total Drama Halloween. And look, there is even a dedicated Halloween specials wiki. That's great, so I will just take every episode here that is listed. To be honest, some of the episodes listed here I wouldn't really call horror/Halloween episodes. But now I'm gonna rewatch these episodes real quick so I can get a fresh memory of them. And to be honest, even though I am a total drama fan, I barely rewatch the show. Just like an episode here and there. But I never rewatch whole seasons. Does that make me a fake fan? Anyways, let me rewatch these, and I will be back in a few moments.
A few moments later.
So I have now rewatched every quote-unquote Halloween episodes, so it's time to rank them. I will rank them in season order, so we will start with the original island, and then end with the reboot. I will also include the listed Total Dramarama episode, as they are labeled as Halloween episodes, so I thought it would be fair to include them as well. So the ranking will be based on this tier list I have made. What I will be judging on is not how good the episode is in general, but is how much it fits as a Halloween/horror episode. For example, if the episode is super good, but doesn't really have that spooky feeling, it might not be as high as you think. So now that you know what the judging will be based on, let's start. The first episode I'm gonna rank is Hook, Line, and Screamer from Total Drama Island. The plot of this episode is that the campers watch a horror movie. Then there is a killer on the loose who is gonna take them one by one. From our perspective, we know that this is a challenge, but the campers do think it's real, except Heather. This plot is actually very common in these episodes, and you will see others episodes having the same concept. I haven't watched this episode in super long, and after rewatching it, I actually liked it very much. It has a clear horror theme and plot with a killer on the loose, which I liked. What made me really like this episode was that it felt real for them, and they took it very seriously. Well, most of them. The episode was kind of built like a short movie, which is very different from usual total drama episodes, so it felt like it was kind of like a different show. I would say the bad thing is that it keeps cutting to Chris and he reveals that it is a challenge. Then we get cuts in the tent every time some gets caught, which kind of breaks the immersion of the episode. I think it would be better if the episode just became like a killer storyline, and then, in the end, Chris reveals that it was just all a challenge. I think this episode has the scariest enemy with a killer, which I don't think they would do today. Instead, we have like dinosaurs, spiders, and ghosts. And for just that, I will actually give this episode the top tier, because it has a lot of horror elements, and it's clear that it's a horror episode. I also like the episode in general, and I actually liked everyone in this episode. The elimination was a little bit silly, though. Next, we have the episode of Total Drama Action. Now, this is a clear horror-themed episode and challenge, so you would expect it to be pretty high. But to be honest, I'm actually just gonna give it the middle tier because hear me out. So the challenge is horror-themed, so that will give it a plus. But what's different between this one and the other episodes is that this takes place in a film set, so it doesn't really feel as scary as the other ones. Because we know it's fake, the contestants know it's fake, so it doesn't really feel as authentic. Also, the supposed scary moments aren't really that scary. It was more comedy, for example, how Izzy and Owen kept kissing, or how Lindsay peed herself. The second challenge was also mediocre. However, we got the chef cheating storyline with DJ, and Lindsay being more of a leader. The episode was decent, but it didn't feel as spooky as it could be. The previous episode, the doctor one, was scarier than this one. So, next we have World Tour, and honestly, when I was younger, the season dipped after Lindsay got eliminated, so I actually haven't watched World Tour in a super duper long time. So after rewatching this episode, I have to say it was very good. It was actually kind of similar to Total Drama Island. We have a killer, and then everyone gets taken one by one. I also liked how they used Jack the Ripper as a way to bring England's history into it. It is almost on the same level as Hook, Line, and Screamer. The only difference is that this time they clearly knew it was a challenge, so it didn't feel as real as Island, but still good. Since they didn't know who the killer was, and when it was revealed that it was Ezekiel, that was a good plot twist, because it kept that mysterious feeling. So I will actually rank it just under Total Drama Island. Let's just blame it on Sierra because she was weird and creepy in this episode. And I mean weird. I also have to say that I'm not the biggest Noah fan out there. I know that is very controversial, But I actually quite enjoyed Noah, especially in this episode, which is something I would never say. Also, it was kinda interesting to see how the cast was without Alejandro. It felt kinda empty, to be honest. Oh, also Duncan is back, I guess. Is that good? I don't know. Next, we have Finders Creepers from Revenge of the Island. You might be surprised, but I actually like this season, until the merge because that's where it goes downhill. But I did enjoy this episode, and there were a lot that ticked the horror theme box. We had the graveyard setting, which adds to the atmosphere. We had many monsters thanks to the mutations. Also, the giant spider. The challenge was similar to the World Tour episode, which had a treasure hunt, and then they got taken away one by one. So I will actually rate it, besides I see London, because if you look closely, the episodes are pretty similar. Also, there were plot points I really liked in this episode. For example, Cameron fighting against his fear, Brick is scared of the darkness, Sam carries the team, Anne-Maria's storyline with Vito, and Scott not being able to sabotage the team. Also, of course, Izzy being the spider was a good plot twist. So in the end, this episode was much better than I remembered it, and I think it deserves its place up there. Next, we have Moon Madness in All-Stars, and this one is more different than the other ones so far. Usually we have the theme of someone taking the contestants one by one. This time we have like an opposite affect, so everything nice turns into evil, and everything evil turns into something nice. So I do like that this episode takes a different route. I'm pretty much in the middle of this episode. I do like the concept and the episode in general. However, it didn't really feel like horror or Halloween to me. Mostly because the cute animals are supposed to turn evil. However, the cute animals are still cute even if they are angry and want to eat you up. So I didn't really get scared of them. The only thing that scared me was Heather trying to be nice. I will put this in the middle right now because it is a good episode and has some elements of horror. However, they are just not strong enough. I also did like Mal, Heather, and Alejandro in this episode. Then there was Sierra. Girl is always so weird. I wish I could say it was the moon, but she is just crazy. Also, the Slenderman Easter egg gets a plus. Now we have the other All-Stars episode, the Ezekiel one. Now I'm not going to talk about this one so much because I kind of thought it would be one episode per season. So I was kind of surprised when this was also counted as a horror episode, but the plot is actually similar to the other episodes where a person takes everyone one by one. Now this was more of a rescue mission where the goal was to save Chris from poor Ezekiel, who deserves his justice. I never saw this as a horror episode, so it's very hard for me to rank it. I like the concept of the episodes is kind of scary. You know, Chris being kidnapped and almost killed is pretty serious, but Chris is so unserious about this and thinks it's funny that they are trying to put much humor into it, like how Chef Stress eats the ice cream instead of helping. Then all of the contestants have different storylines, like the Mal thing with Alejandro, Cameron not trusting Mike, Scott and Courtney's romance, and Zoe being oblivious there's just too much going on, so it feels like the horror aspect of the episode is kinda just in the background. So in the end, I will have to rank it pretty low, mostly since I never saw it as a horror episode in the first place. Next is the hide and seek episode in Pahkitew Island. And we all know how much I love this season, so I will be a little bit biased on this one. So the main horror thing in this episode is that everyone kind of turns into a zombie, so it becomes a small zombie apocalypse, which is kind of different from other episodes. Usually the victims vanish after they are targeted, but this time they actually join the quote-unquote evil side, which I liked. I really liked how they utilized the first part of the challenge to kind of start the buildup of the zombie apocalypse. For example, how Sugar ate so much she turned into a zombie first, and then she finds everyone else, and then it kind of feels like she is infecting everyone and turns everyone else into zombies. Since Sugar won immunity and kinda was the main character, this episode automatically gets top tier. But there are some bad things about this episode that will make it drop a tier, sadly. First up, I did not like Sky in this episode. I am a Dave hater, but I really liked his dynamic with Sugar in this episode. Also, I don't think Jasmine should have won immunity, mainly because she had like the least amount of screen time in this episode. Next, we have the Ridonculous race episode that takes place in Romania. It has a good build-up taking place in Transylvania, and we get to go to Dracula's castle and the graveyard. A perfect start for a Halloween episode, so you would expect this to get pretty high on the tier list. I would give this higher if the whole episode was horror-themed, but it's only the first half of the episode. The second half takes place in a gym where they have to do gymnastics, and it kind of just throws off the horror feeling completely, and it feels so random. We had some moments here and there in the castle that were kind of scary, but we gotta give it to the goths who carried the horror elements. It feels like they were the only ones who utilized the scary atmosphere. Everyone else maybe got one small moment, so it didn't feel as scary as it should. So I think a fair tier should be the middle, and that is just for half of the episode. If the episode was fully horror-themed, maybe it could be higher. Now we have the reboot episode, Cave by the Bell Season 1 Episode 12. To be honest, when I was going through the reboot episodes, I didn't know which one would be the horror episode. I was gonna use the fart episode, because that horrified me. So when I saw it was this episode, I was kinda surprised, because I never in my life would see this as a horror episode. This to me is just a normal total drama episode. There are some Halloween elements like we have costumes, monsters, and some scary animals in a cave, but for some reason it didn't feel scary. The costumes were there because of friendship. The monster was there for plot armor for Priya, and the animals in the caves were just there to torture Bowie. I just did not feel or think anything horror when I watched this episode, and I think you guys think the same. If I would recommend a total drama Halloween episode, this would probably be the last one I would recommend, because it just doesn't feel like a total drama Halloween episode. Therefore, I sadly have to put it last. Sorry.
But someone has to be last.
I know you might think it's weird I included a total Dramarama episode, but I gotta give everyone a shot. So the episode Duncan Carving is literally a Halloween episode. The theme is Halloween, the storyline is Halloween, and we get a Halloween opening and credit scene. And the episode was actually good. I enjoyed watching Total Dramarama and might give it another shot sometime. So the plot is pretty simple. Everyone has their Halloween candy, but Duncan ate his faster and wants more. Izzy tells them about this pumpkin legend called Carvin Marvin. Duncan gets the idea of dressing up as the pumpkin guy to steal everyone's candy. He succeeds, and at first, the other kids get angry and want revenge, so they set up a trap to lure him. In the end, not only does Duncan lose, but it's also revealed that Carvin Marvin exists. What really gives this a plus was that there are so many references to Scooby-Doo, especially when they caught Duncan, then even had Owen become Scooby, which I thought was fun. I haven't watched much of Total Dramarama, but compared to the other one, this is a perfect Halloween episode, so I will give it the highest tier. Now the other Halloween episode, which was Ghoul Spirit, wasn't as good in my opinion. The plot is a simple Gwen plot. Gwen gets a new ghost friend, but it is too nice, so she does not like it. Everyone feels bad and tries to make the ghost become more scarier, so Gwen can like it. It doesn't work, but in the end, it gets scary and they finally become friends. Even though it is classified as a Halloween episode, I didn't get that feeling, and here is why. First of all, the opening and credits were just like any other episode. It didn't have the Halloween theme like Duncan Carving. Then the vibe of the episode just felt a little bit too typical, like this could just be a normal episode. And episodes about Gwen has had similar concepts of her not liking something, but then in the end she likes it. The only reason I think it is classified as a Halloween episode is because there is a ghost involved. You could make the same episode and replace the ghost with something else, and it would just turn into a normal total Dramarama episode. So I will not give it the lowest tier, but almost down there, because I guess there are some elements that keep it in the Halloween zone. So, here is my final ranking of all the Halloween/horror themed episode of Total Drama. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree? Comment down below and perhaps comment your own tier list so we can compare. Anyways, thanks for watching, and let's see how long of a break I will take now. Or will I stay? Only the future knows. But for now, bye.